Besides giving you just an incredibly good contrast, OLED TVs have gotten so much better over the years and surprisingly much more affordable now. Which is why in this video, I'll run you down through some of the best OLED TVs you can buy so far and what you need to look out for to find the right one for you. You'll find links to all of the models mentioned in the video in the description below, but without further ado, let's dive right in. Starting off is the LG B4 as the best entry level. If you don't get a ton of lights coming into your room and you're looking for an affordable way to get yourself an OLED TV, LG's B4 from last year is an incredibly good value for money. It uses LG's earlier A8 processor, which is incredibly efficient for image processing or upscaling older lower res content, though not as good when compared to their A9 processor on the 83-inch version only, or the step-up C4. You still get most of the benefits you'd get from much of their high-end lineup, like LG's Filmmaker mode, which gives you just fantastic out-of-the-box color accuracy when watching movies, plus the infinite contrast as you'd expect from an OLED TV. And while it won't get as punchy or vibrant colors as a QD OLED panel, color accuracy is still really good, giving you incredibly good lifelike visuals, which LG seems to have mostly perfected over the years. The TV is also very much geared to be a gaming TV, as it's equipped with 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, all supporting 4K at 120 Hz, with an input latency under 10 milliseconds, enough of a recipe for a thrilling, responsive gaming session. And when you combine that with VRR, FreeSync, and G-Sync support, the B4 offers buttery smooth visuals for even the most demanding AAA titles. It also includes Game Optimizer and dashboard features, making it easy to tailor the picture and input settings for various genres, from fast-paced shooters to atmospheric RPGs. Now, while the B4's A8 processor here will handle upscaling and image enhancements well, it's still a rung below the C4's A9 chip. This means you might notice slightly less punch in upscaled content and overall image processing, though the difference is very minimal, and most people might benefit with the C4 if you watch a lot of older lower res content. Up next is the Samsung S90D as the best value for buck. Samsung's mid-range lineup of OLED still has incredibly good value for money, and especially if you want the benefits that come with a QD OLED panel. The TV comes equipped with a Neo Quantum AI Gen 2 processor, which is designed to improve picture processing, upscale content even better than previous chips, and produce very accurate images out of the box. QD OLED panels tend to give you that vibrant pop in colors as well, and because it's an OLED panel, you are promised those deep blacks and incredible contrast on all of your content. It also has an excellent reflection handling, meaning it maintains visibility even in rooms with ambient light, although it is not as glare resistant as their flagship S95F. For gamers, the S90D is easily one of the best gaming TVs money can buy. It has a near instantaneous pixel response time, plus supports all the modern gaming features like VRR, 4K at 144 Hz, and includes an AI-powered auto mode that optimizes picture settings based on the genre of the game you play. HDR games really pop off as well, and you truly start to see the benefits of a QD OLED panel, thanks to its very vibrant, lifelike colors and impressive HDR brightness. Now, while the S90D is a strong option for most people, there are downsides you should consider. For starters, like all Samsung TVs, there's no Dolby Vision support, but this is not a deal breaker for most people since you still get HDR10+, which is equally as good. Likewise, not all models come in these QD OLED panels outside of the US, and this very much depends on your region and size, which could result in varying picture quality experiences. And while it faces competition from TVs like the LG C4, and especially in bright room contrast and Dolby Vision support, the S90D still holds its own as one of the best OLED options currently available, particularly for those who prioritize color volume, gaming features, and wide viewing angles. And at number 4 is the LG C5 as the best mid-range. One of the most common issues that plagues OLED TVs is brightness, but the LG C5 is where it truly separates itself from the previous C4, and even their entry-level B4. It's the brightest C-series lineup from LG, and this boost in brightness makes HDR movies, sports, and games look more impressive, and especially in moderately lit settings. Color coverage here is very extensive as well, giving you over 98% of DCI-P3, topping last year's C4 model, and even rivaling flagship competitors from Samsung. You also get out-of-the-box color accuracy when set to filmmaker mode, and this is what makes the C5 really good if you are a movie buff and appreciate that true cinematic feel when watching your favorite shows. For gamers, the C5 continues to deliver. All 4 HDMI ports support 4K at 144Hz, VRR, FreeSync, and G-Sync, meaning you get high compatibility and smooth responsiveness for PC and console setups. And when you combine all those gaming optimization features plus all the new web OS refinements LG did, it will enhance any games you play significantly, and especially if you're coming from an old LCD TV. Audio is average to say the least, as it gets a punchy sound and clear dialogue from the built-in 40-watt speakers, though true home theater fans will still prefer an external soundbar. It's worth noting that LG dropped DTS audio support off late though, so Blu-ray fans with large disc collections may need to check for compatibility before choosing the C5. In its price tier, the C5 stands out as just a great high-quality OLED TV. It doesn't best LG's own G5 or Samsung's latest QD OLEDs in raw brightness or color volume, but for most households, it will give you a cinematic, accurate image, all the handy gaming features you need, plus a broad smart platform support. And while the differences from last year's C4 may seem incremental, the C5 is positioned to be one of the year's strongest OLED TVs for almost every user as its pricing settles. And up next is the Sony Bravia 8 Mark II as the best premium. If you've got deep pockets, the Sony Bravia 8 Mark II is easily one of the best OLED TVs money can buy. Not a lot of people can justify or even afford the price though, but where Sony has the edge over most of the competitors is that they've mastered processing and motion handling so well over the years. At around 1930 nits peak brightness on a 5% HDR window, it significantly surpasses Sony's previous OLED models, and even the earlier Bravia 8, though it still falls short of the brightest OLEDs like Samsung's top QD OLEDs or LG's G5. It's still a QD OLED, so you get those vibrant pop in colors, and this marries really well with the infinite contrast that an OLED panel gives you, so watching your favorite shows and movies will feel like a whole other experience. Sony's Cognitive XR processor here is what powers all these remarkable image enhancements with AI-driven scene recognition, which then optimizes contrast, sharpness, and color accuracy on the fly. Movie buffs are also going to really love this TV because Sony, being a movie company, now works so well with most streaming services like Netflix and Prime Video to give you that accurate cinematic picture as intended by the director. Upscaling of HD and SD content is excellent as well, so non-4K videos or older res content will look incredibly sharp, and this is largely a reason why most people go with Sony over other TV brands. The TV supports all the essential gaming features like 4K at 120Hz, so a bit below when compared to the 144Hz offered by Samsung and LG, but you still get the common VRR and ALLM on 2 of its HDMI 2.1 ports. Sony also offers a broad HDR support, including Dolby Vision and HDR10, alongside DTS pass-through for audio, plus the TV runs on Google TV OS 12, meaning you are getting a rich smart TV ecosystem with wide app availability. Besides the ridiculous high price tag, Sony does have a few downsides you should consider. For starters, there are only 2 of 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, meaning it's not as versatile as options from Samsung, given it's still capped at 4K at 120Hz. Likewise, screen sizes are only available for 55 and 65 inches, so those who'd like to size up or down might have to look for other options. And at number 2 is the Samsung S95F as the best OLED for gaming. If your primary use for a TV would be gaming and some movie watching on the side, no brand does gaming TVs like Samsung. Its gaming specs set a new benchmark for most OLED TVs currently. as it supports up to 4K res at a 165Hz refresh rate across all 4 of its HDMI 2.1 ports, and this makes it compatible with any future plus current gaming consoles like the PS5 Pro, and even high-end PCs. The TV also has a very low input lag, counting that it supports VRR and AMD FreeSync Premium Pro, meaning this is one of the best gaming OLEDs you can buy if you want that tear-free fluid gameplay. And as an upgrade from previous models, Samsung now uses the NQ4 AI Gen 3 processor, which really improves the TV's image processing capabilities and remasters your content to look more vivid and lifelike. Like all Samsung TVs though, there is no support for Dolby Vision, but you still get HDR10+, HDR10, and HLG, which are equally as good and punchy enough for those movie nights. Building on Samsung's success with QD-OLED panels as well, this flagship model pushes brightness to even greater heights, now giving you a peak HDR luminance exceeding 2100 nits, surpassing many competing OLEDs and rivaling some mini LED screens as well. This increased brightness dramatically enhances HDR impact, with vivid, punchy colors and rich contrasts that remain intact even if you place it in overly bright rooms, thanks in part to the advanced matte glare-free screen coating that almost completely eliminates distracting reflections. Now, while the S95F is an outstanding television, there are a few trade-offs to consider. For starters, the requirement to use display stream compression DSC for 165Hz modes may limit compatibility with some older devices, and the HDMI 2.1 bandwidth maxes out at 40 gigabits per second, slightly less than some competitors. Likewise, it also omits DTS audio support, which could affect playback compatibility for those with extensive physical media. Still, the premium price point does reflect its flagship status, making it a considerable investment. And if you want the best OLED can deliver, the S95F doesn't steer far away from that. And taking our top spot is the Panasonic Z95B as the best for most people. It's not been long since Panasonic's return to the US market, and the second upgrade to their flagship Z95 series is easily one of the best OLED TVs most people can buy. What mostly sets the Z95B apart from competitors like the S90F or Sony Bravia 8 is that they use a new 4-stack primary RGB tandem OLED panel, which tends to be very accurate out of the box when watching HDR content. Plus, the colors here tend to be way more natural, even when compared to QD OLED options. Picture quality on the Z95B is just extraordinarily refined, giving you those deep blacks you'd expect from an OLED and an incredibly good shadow detail even in very dark scenes. And despite the TV being able to reach a peak brightness of over 2100 nits, Panasonic included an advanced thermal flow cooling system which stabilizes its brightness during long viewing sessions and ultimately reduces the overall risk of burn-in. Something that Panasonic really nails down with their TVs is that processing and motion handling is way more refined compared to other TV brands, with much less dithering than what most flagship OLEDs suffer from. And it being the only OLED TV that supports both HDR10+ and Dolby Vision, this makes it one of the best TVs for movie buffs who appreciate that cinematic feel in movies, counting that you truly benefit from the panel tech they implemented as well. Gamers also get pretty much all they could need as it has 144Hz panel refresh rate with support for a full array of gaming features like AMD FreeSync, NVIDIA G-Sync, VRR, and auto low latency mode, which ensures you are getting a smooth gameplay with a low input lag on either console or even a high-end PC. Now, one thing that might put some people off is the operating system since it runs on Amazon's Fire TV OS. And while it's great for the most part, you can always bypass the interface by using an Apple TV box if you don't want to deal with ads. Likewise, it's very much a premium priced TV, as the 65-inch model retails for around $3,000, but still significantly less than the Bravia 8 and nearly the same price as the S95F. The closest and easily one of the best alternatives to the Z95B is the LG G5. That's because they both use LG's revolutionary new primary RGB tandem OLED panel, But the edge that the G5 mostly has over the Z95B is that it can reach notably higher peak brightness, especially in filmmaker mode or regular HDR viewing, outshining Panasonic's more conservative calibration for color accuracy. Additionally, LG gives you 165Hz refresh rate, so slightly better when it comes to gaming, though these are still very minor advantages, and it overall comes down to which of the two TVs you prefer the most. But let us hear that in the comments down below on what TV you think is better than the other, or if you've had personal experience with any of them. If you found this video helpful, we would love if you hit the like button, as this helps push the video out to more people. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss any future OLED TV content. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.